Information shared on the following program is for general information purposes only. It does not constitute legal, tax, investment, or other advice, nor is it intended to recommend any particular investments, products, or financial instruments. Always seek advice from your financial advisor, attorney, or accountant with regard to investment, legal, or tax questions.
Does it fit? Is it the right color? Can I use this? Oh, yeah.
Welcome to the only show in the country dedicated to helping savers worry less about money, the WorryFree Retirement, with your host, nationally recognized retirement specialist and four-time author, Tony Walker.
The year 1978, a time in life when things were, well, shall we say, simple. You see, in the mid-1960s, my grandparents moved from Lexington, Kentucky to a quaint little community just 30 minutes from Lexington called Troy. As a young lad, I remember the first time me and my brother Marty visited Troy. The place just seemed like a little slice of heaven. In fact, over the years, I would spend a lot of my childhood, and believe it or not, even in my young adulthood years, enjoying what my Uncle Eddie referred to as the land of do as you please. Now, what still impresses me is just how simple a man my granddad really was, especially around the ever-chaotic holiday we call Christmas. While his wife, my grandmother Hazel, loved Christmas shopping and all that went along with it, Granddad was quite the opposite. In fact, he very seldom went Christmas shopping with Hazel. Funny, I remember Hazel making Granddad go with her to the local mall, and his only response after returning home was a concerned look on his face as he quipped, "I don't know. There's a lot of people walking around that mall, but I don't think anybody's buying much," to which I responded, "How so, Granddad?" "Well, son," as he slowly opened up a new carton of Marlboro cigarettes, "I just didn't hear any of those cash registers ringing." Even as a young man, I realized the wisdom of not telling Granddad that those cash registers ringing had kind of gone the way of the dinosaur. Now, I will say this. The one holiday tradition that Granddad did enjoy, and I did as well, was swinging by the local Long John Silver's over on Southland Drive in Lexington and grabbing some peg legs and fish and chips. But I digress. So Tony, you ask, what does your grandfather living a simple life and avoiding the trappings of Christmas shopping have to do with today's program? Well, let's find out. Well, welcome folks to the Worry-Free Retirement. And yes, I am that little man in the sweater vest, good feeling retirement planning specialist and fiduciary Tony Walker. And before we show you how to give the gift that keeps on giving, that's right folks, cold, hard, tax-free cash just like Granddad, let me introduce the producer of the show who is trading places with Derek and working the graphics today. Good morning, Aaron. How you doing over there in your new spot?
Hey, good morning, sir. How are you?
Yeah, great, great. And then also, we have behind the camera today, Louisville, Kentucky's most laid-back graphics artist, Mr. Derek Hudson. You got everything under control?
It's going good.
All right, good deal. And finally, our newest member here at Worry-Free Productions, associate producer, Miss Mary Beth Combs. Mary Beth, good morning.
Good morning. I'm happy to be here.
Well, thank you for joining us. So, assuming you're watching this show during the holiday season, we must all admit that when it comes to gifts, there's plenty of gift-giving ideas to select from. You could spend your hard-earned money to buy someone clothing, maybe a toy, a video game, something for the house, you name it. There's tons of options out there in terms of what you might give to others. But as well-intentioned as one might be in thinking of what to give someone, there's a problem. And it's the same question Granddad asked us each Christmas morning. Does it fit? Is it the right color? And finally, is it something you can use? You see, Granddad had it all figured out. Instead of fretting over what to give others for Christmas, he'd do the same thing each and every Christmas morning, and that's slip a $10 bill into each of his kids' and grandkids' special envelope, place it in the Christmas tree, and upon our opening and pulling out the $10, he'd ask the same questions. Does it fit? Is it the right color? And is that something you can use? And we would all say, amen to that. Why? Because of all the gifts one might give to loved ones, Granddad had it figured out. You give people cold hard, tax-free cash, which is the best gift of all. You see, there's a valuable lesson found in Granddad's gift-giving strategy, one that makes complete sense, but one that very few people follow. But never fear, I'm going to show you how to give more of that cold hard tax-free cash to your loved ones without the fear of running out of money. Stay tuned. Good stuff coming your way. I'm Tony Walker. I'll be right back. Have you recently retired, been laid off, or offered a pension buyout? Has the company you work for moved, been acquired, or closed its doors forever? And finally, do you have a 401k with a previous employer you'd like to move to safer territory? Then take advantage of this opportunity to move your 401k or lump sum pension to Tony Walker Financial. Let's meet in person to discuss your retirement options. Log on now to TonyWalkerFinancial.com to schedule your free, no obligation appointment. Let us help you today. Our Tony in the Trenches comes from Harold out of Elizabethtown, Kentucky, who writes, Tony, several years ago, at the advice of a financial advisor at my bank, I rolled my 401k plan into an annuity he suggested. Since that time, I haven't heard a word from him. Why is that? Well, Harold, I hate to tell you this, probably because he's already been paid a pretty big commission, and unfortunately, there is no obligation on an agent's part or advisor to service what they sell. This is why we always remind people before you rush out and buy an annuity or move a bunch of money over to a money manager, please, I encourage you, get a second opinion from someone like us, because in Harold's case, he's now probably stuck in that annuity, and worse yet, probably doesn't have a game plan on how best to use that annuity in retirement. So when it comes to money, folks, there's only three things you can do with it. All right, you can spend it, save it, or give it. That's it. And when it comes to giving and receiving, there's an old saying, don't look a gift horse in the mouth. What does that mean, Derek asks? Well, basically, when someone is offering to give you something, you take it.
All you want to do is take. You never give.
And as we record this show on October 27th, 2021, there are two places where the gift horse is looking you straight in the eyes, trying to give you something, and many of you won't take it. First, assuming you have an account such as a 401k that has grown in value, you are not taking those winnings off the table. It's a gift. In other words, you still have them at risk. Those winnings, if they're sitting there still in your 401k, are not guaranteed, and they could drop like a rock in a moment's notice. Don't believe me? Let me remind you of 2008, when everything was going great, when out of the blue, the stock market fell by more than 50%. Oh, speaking of taking winnings off the table, I remember managing money back in the 90s and putting a bunch of my clients' money into a mutual fund managed by this fellow, Garrett Van Wagner, who one year earned my clients nearly 300% return in just 1 year, which was unheard of. Yet, well, all of the genius, or shall I say speculation surrounding Mr. Van Wagner and his emerging growth fund, the speculation of a high-flying mutual fund full of risk eventually came crashing down. Today, Mr. Van Wagner's fund is all but kaput. So does this mean your current stock market winnings will suffer the same fate? Maybe not, but who knows? And I can tell you one thing, if you're retired or nearing retirement, if it does take a tumble, you'll be in a world of hurt and even more afraid to spend and give away money, and that's for sure. So the question for savers who are retired or nearing retirement is this: can you afford to continue to risk your money, or would it be better to look a gift horse in the mouth and take some of those winnings off the table and either spend them or give that money to those you love, versus leaving it over for the folks at Wall Street to take fees on? The second gift horse in the mouth is something our friends can kind of impose upon us, and that's called taxes. You see, believe it or not, the government is trying to give you a break, but many of you won't take it. That's right. In my 37 years of advising people on their money and how to reduce taxes, right now, again, the year 2021, many of you, in my opinion, are in the lowest tax brackets you'll probably ever be in, but you're not taking advantage of it by putting some of that money in your pocket. So let's face it, folks, with our nation's debt through the roof, the government handing out money like candy, Do you really think taxes are going to stay this low? Well, I would say there's no way. So again, don't look a gift horse in the mouth. Let's talk. Let's see if it makes sense to take this tax hit now at these lower tax rates, and let's take some of that money away from the government and give it to somebody you want to give it to. But Tony, you ask, who can I give it to now? And if I don't give it to them now, who will I give it to later? Well, let's take a look at the monitor here. This is pretty interesting stuff. So here are the people you can give it to that you love. Well, let's talk about ourselves. Why don't you give a little to yourself and spend some on yourself? There's one option. Option number 2, give it to your kids. Do you realize how many of your kids, yes, even some of those adult children, could use the money now versus waiting until you die? It makes no sense whatsoever. How about grandkids? You know, we're helping our grandkids here and there with things like preschool and buying clothes and doing things for them. And it's a wonderful thing to be able to gift money to grandkids. And finally, the people you love, people like charity who could certainly use that money. Now, there's one other source of folks out there you could give it to. We'll put it under the other category. That would be, we've already talked about it, the government. You're going to give it to them in the way of taxes. Another entity you could give money to, fees. Oh, by the way, I had somebody in the other day that moved a bunch of money over to our Charles Schwab platform. We figured out that we are going to save them about $5,000 per year in fees because they were being charged about 1.5%. Our fees with Charles Schwab to do everything a whopping 0.8%. A heck of a deal if you'd like to check that out. Another culprit out there that's after your money, interest. Many of you are giving up a lot of money in the way of interest on a lot of loans that you probably need to consider trying to pay off. We can help you with that. And then finally, insurance companies. I mean, as much as I love insurance companies, folks, they love to get your money through what we call premiums. So you see, if you don't give it to yourself or someone you care about now, let me tell you something, over time, later, you are going to give it to others that you probably would just as soon not give it to. So how much should a saver know about how much to spend and how much to give and how much cold, hard, tax-free cash they want to hand off to others? Well, stay tuned. When I come back, I'm going to go through an actual case I recently worked on, which will show you why our Live Well, Die Broke philosophy is a game changer and how it's going to help you be more worry-free in retirement. I'm Tony Walker. You're watching the WorryFree Retirement. I'll be right back. Good stuff coming your way. With the stock market at all-time highs and our nation's debt through the roof, there's a lot of uncertainty out there. Now may be the best time to safeguard more of your 401k. Let's get started today by logging on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com. Who can you trust? It's one of the most important decisions you'll have to make. Question is, are you ready? Well, we're here to help at Tony Walker Financial. You know, we care more about you than we do your money, and we have over 2,000 happy clients and an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau to prove it. Rolling over a 401k, confused about Social Security, maybe you're afraid of running out of money. Learn how to use and enjoy and protect your hard-earned money. Log on now to TonyWalkerFinancial.com and let's get started. Our Live Well, Die Broke moment comes from the Hennings over in Pleasureville, Kentucky, who recently wanted to be able to take better care of this cow, I'll call her Betsy, along with a herd of other ones as well as their property. So what did the Hennings do? Well, they got off their wallet and purchased this brand new tractor to help on the family farm and old Betsy to boot. And seeing as though the Hennings took the time to drop us these photos, they'll be receiving a $100 gift card. And as well, if you'd like to enter to our Live Well, Die Broke moment by sending us some photos of something kind of cool that's going on in your life, just email Gina at TonyWalkerFinancial.com for a chance to win a $100 gift card. Okay, let's get back to the meat of our program, to give or not to give. And since the Hennings took the time and others to make it more efficient around the family farm, I want to talk about cows. Not just any cows, but cows I wrote about in one of my favorite books, Don't Follow the Herd, which talks about this idea of why the financial world really doesn't want us giving money to others, because if we give it to others, that means we're going to take it away from them. Great book, and it's a great read. And since I'm feeling really in a giving mood, here's what we're going to do. For the first 10 people that email Gina at TonyWalkerFinancial.com, we're going to mail you an autographed copy, signed copy, hard copy of Don't Follow the Herd. The first 10 folks, be sure when you email, let Gina know that you want a copy of the book, your full name, mailing address, and phone number. Okay, so the topic of today's show is this. Since we have discovered that if we live long enough, we are going to have to give our money to someone somehow, why not give it to those we love and care about rather than those we don't? So let me demonstrate an actual case. This is what I do day in and day out, folks. Again, folks, I'm not a financial entertainer. I'm not someone working 8 states away who doesn't see people. All I do day in and day out is meet in person with savers who are trying to figure out how to use and enjoy this money before it's too late. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take an actual file, a case I worked on just the other day. I'm going to plot it on the whiteboard, and then I'm going to share with you all the different questions, all the things a planner is supposed to know, and hopefully it allows you to see that if somebody's rushing you into a sale without asking similar questions and working on a game plan, all the more reason you need a second opinion. Now, we've been working on some graphics here at WorryFree Productions, so through the magic of those graphics, we're going to magically make me go from here to there with the whiteboard. So Aaron, let's see if we can make this work. Welcome back to the Worry-Free Retirement. And since our theme is on the idea of giving money away to yourself or to those you love and not to everybody else, what I thought I would do is actually go through an actual case. Again, if you're just now joining us, I'm reminding people that as a fiduciary and the owner of Tony Walker Financial, I'm unusual because a lot of owners of corporations this size don't meet with people, or they might meet with them once and then you never hear from them again. That's not so at Tony Walker Financial. In fact, I vow to continue to work with my clients anytime they need to talk to me. So I see a lot of people, 20 to 30 people per week, and I run into situations like this all the time. So let me set the stage. This is a file when someone comes in for their first appointment. So maybe that's you. You're thinking about meeting with me. You're saying, well, what do we got to do, Tony? Well, first of all, you're going to get a starter kit. There's a starter kit in here. This is an actual file. In that starter kit, you're going to bring that in with any documents pertaining to your situation. Now, this particular case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to set the stage with all the different nuances going on with this particular couple. Then I'm going to get to their goals and then how we at Tony Walker would address those. You're going to find out real quick why you better be careful of just blindly throwing your money over the first person you see. There takes a lot of experience and a lot of expertise to do retirement planning. Problem is, everybody and his brothers acting like they know what they're doing in this world, and it can be really, really treacherous if you don't know what you're doing. Okay, here goes. So just kind of glancing through the file here, this couple is 65 and 62 respectively. They have 3 children, 4 grandchildren. He has $650,000 in his 401k, about $300,000 in a pension he could take either lump sum or annuitize for about $2,000 a month. They have about $30,000 in savings. They're wanting to update their home, maybe their bathrooms, do a few things with that. He recently lost his parents, motivating him to kind of take on that live well, die broke philosophy and thinking about retiring so he can enjoy his money before it's too late. As a result of their deaths, they will be receiving very soon $150,000 from the sale of his parents' home. They're not sure when to take Social Security. Currently, he is making about $100,000 a year, and he's not sure how to figure out how much he's going to need in retirement and how to translate that $100,000 pre-tax to after-tax. Currently, he's still maxing out his 401k plan. As far as his family, he wants to make sure to take care of a child who recently divorced, a female child who has 2 children, trying to raise those children on her own. He does want to help this child, but he wants to treat the other 2 children equally, not sure how to do that. He's got about $60,000 in debt on his home, principal and interest about $1,200 a month. He said if he retires now, he'd like to take that debt and get that paid off. His wife can remain on her health insurance. By the way, boy, health insurance, that's the elephant in the room nowadays. Used to not be a big deal. It can be very, very expensive. So let's kind of go over his goals. I know that's a mouthful, and you're saying, well, Tony, how do you analyze all that? Well, I've met with over 15,000 people and witnessed and overseen over 5,000 game plans. So this is my world right here. So the main goals I picked up from, when this person retires, he wants to be debt-free, okay? Obviously, we could pay that off with the inheritance, right? He also would like to make sure the one child, I picked up on that, the one child is taken care of, and also treat the kids fairly and equally. Well, how's he going to do that? Number 3, he also has that big 401k, and as I say, that puppy is tax infested. I call that a tax tumor. He hadn't even thought about that. We're going to try to help this gentleman figure out how to keep those taxes. Remember earlier we talked about those lower tax brackets. We want to see if we can keep him in a lower tax bracket. And then another main goal that he had was Social Security and when to take that. And in this example, what we would probably do is come up with a way for maybe even her to take the Social Security, him to delay his, and we would get into that. Now, here's the important part. So I'm not going to actually share with you the details of this case. I don't want to get into the weeds here too much, and it's very, very detailed in terms of the second appointment when we're going to deliver our free assessment to help this couple understand what their next steps are and how we can accomplish these goals and even more. But here's the interesting thing. Let me read to you what we do at Tony Walker Financial and why we're so different and put so much time and effort into these cases. Number 1, we have a process. It's a 5-step process that we go through, and it is proprietary. Everyone who wants to go through this process will be happy to do it, and it's absolutely free. Number 2, you're going to be working with the owner. I've got over 37 years of experience. Not many owners are going to meet with you in person, but I will. Number 3, we have some of the lowest fees in the industry currently with Charles Schwab at 0.8%. And yes, we pick out all the portfolios. We do everything for you for that fee. Finally, you've got 3 salaried fiduciaries and a full-time staff to assist you with anything you might need. So what are you waiting for? Right now, why don't you log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com, click on that Let's Get Started, and let's see how we can help you be worry-free. Well, what does the Bible have to say about giving? It's got some great things to say about giving, but you know what? I got to get me a cup of coffee. I'll be right back.
Have yourself a merry little Christmas.
WorryFree Music presents the greatest collection of Christmas covers ever assembled.
It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. Hey!
Tony Walker's A Humdinger Christmas. 486 timeless classics across 6 digitally remastered 8-track tapes.
Happy holidays!
Every song fills your home with holiday magic.
Sing ding-a-ding, ring ding-a-ding, ding ding-a-ding, dong ding-a-ding, ring ding-a-ding, ding ding-a-ding, ring ding-a-ding, ring ding-a-ding.
Don't miss this opportunity to receive Tony Walker's A Humdinger Christmas, the perfect way to celebrate the joy of this holiday season.
Dashing through the snow, hey, and 1-horse open sleigh, yeah.
Only $685 plus $3 shipping and handling. Order yours today.
8-track tape player not included. Offer void where prohibited.
And from all of us at Tony Walker Financial, have a Merry Christmas.
Wondering how much money you'll need to retire? Probably a lot less than you think. I'm retirement specialist Tony Walker, and for the past 36 years, I've helped thousands of savers determine when to retire and how much money they'll need in retirement, and I can help you too. To meet in person at no cost or obligation, let me invite you to log on right now to TonyWalkerFinancial.com or call the toll-free number on your screen. We look forward to talking with you soon. Oh yeah, thank you, Mary Beth. I needed that. You know, one of the most common questions I get is this: Tony, should I give money now to my kids or wait until after I die and leave them what's left? Well, it's a good question. Until you and I can meet in person to go over your personal situation, I can't give you an answer. But to help us think through this age-old dilemma of whether to give money to others now or wait until after they die, let's see what the richest man who ever lived had to say about this, King Solomon, in Ecclesiastes 2:18 and 19, where he says, "Thus I hated all the fruit of my labor, for which I had labored under the sun. for I must leave it to the man who will come after me, and who knows whether he will be a wise man or a fool. Yet he will have control over all the fruit of my labor for which I have labored by acting wisely under the sun. This too is vanity. See the problem? Solomon realized that after all those years of slaving away and building up a bunch of wealth, in the end, he would die broke, meaning he realized he couldn't take this stuff with him, which meant that all that he had worked so hard to accumulate was going to be left to others who might not be as wise as he was. Oh, if only King Solomon had read Live Well, Die Broke, I could have told him this would happen. So if this is true, and if we are uncertain if the one we leave our money to after we're dead and gone is no longer going to be a good steward of it, why not test the plan out now? In other words, while we are still alive, to see how these folks might handle this money we're going to give to them and see them enjoy it. But Tony, you ask, now that sounds like a good idea, but what if I give my money to family now and they squander it? Could that happen? You bet it could. Check out what happens in Luke chapter 15, where Jesus tells of a wealthy landowner who gives one of his children the child's inheritance now versus later. As we can see in this verse 14, after living the life of Riley, the son awakens one day only to discover that he's squandered it all. In other words, he's dead broke. So what does the broke son do next? Well, you'll have to join us next week to find out what this story really means for you and I, and believe me, it's some really good news. So what are you doing right now to get a handle on whether you want to give money away now or give it away to somebody else later? Do you have a way to determine if you can afford to spend more of your money in retirement and also give some of it away, or are you going to just keep stockpiling it to no end? Do you have a written game plan that can help you determine how much you can spend and from which accounts you're going to take this money from? And most importantly, do you have an experienced financial advisor who is working in your best interest, someone who understands all the ramifications that come along with giving and spending while at the same time making sure you don't run out of money? Well, if not, why not? My name is Tony Walker, and for more than 37 years, I've been helping savers worry less about money, and I want to help you too. So if you're retired, nearing retirement, have money languishing over at the bank, have an old 401k or IRA that you just are not sure what to do with, or here's another one, maybe you're over the age of 59 and a half and still working, but didn't realize you could roll that 401k over to our process right now. So if you want to check out our services or meet with me in person, all you got to do, just log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com, TonyWalkerFinancial.com, and click on that Let's Get Started, and your information will be confidentially sent to our offices in Bowling Green, Kentucky. At that point, we can either talk by phone, or if it warrants, I will be happy to meet with you in person at either our Bowling Green, Louisville, or Lexington, Kentucky offices. Do it now, TonyWalkerFinancial.com. Well, we hope you've enjoyed today's program. We've got a great show working right now in the works for you for next week. But you remember, between now and then, if all else fails, you be worry-free. Make it a good one.